Hey, welcome to a new video on the Catmanjoe channel. My name is Joe or Joseph, and today I'll be showing you how to get every pottery sherd in Minecraft. In total, there are 23 different pottery sherds you can collect, but multiple can be found in the same location, so I'll be covering how to find all of them split across these 6 different locations they can be found, so let's get into it. Now, before you set off on your pottery sherd hunting adventure, if it isn't already obvious, you will be needing to make a brush, which will require 1 feather, copper, and a stick. After that, we can now go find the first group of sherds, which are the Archer, Miner, Prize, and Skull pottery sherds. To find these, you'll need to find a desert pyramid, commonly referred to as a desert temple, which is an above ground structure built mostly of sandstone. Now, desert temples generate in, of course, desert biomes, but it's important to note that they have a lower generation frequency in Minecraft Java Edition than they do on Bedrock Edition. So if you do play on Java or just don't want to spend a bunch of time searching for one, you can use sites like Chunkbase, which I'll have linked down below in the description, that allow you to enter the seed for your world and find where most structures are. Regardless of what you choose, when you do find a desert pyramid, you're just going to want to go inside it and slowly dig around and look for suspicious sand, which looks slightly different from normal sand. Then when you find some, use your brush in, and if you're lucky enough, you'll get one of the 4 different sherds, which each has a 12.5% chance of being extracted from suspicious sand. Next, for our second group of sherds, here's how to get the Blade, Explorer, Mourner, and Plenty pottery sherds. To find these, we'll be deep diving underwater, so you want to bring either a water breathing potion, a turtle helmet, or even just have Aqua Infinity on a regular helmet. After that, we'll then head out to sea and start looking for a cold ocean room, which is an underwater structure made mostly of stone bricks that generates on the seafloor within cold biomes. Thankfully, finding ocean ruins isn't too hard, as you can usually find one by just sailing around in a boat while looking at the seafloor. And once you find one, you're just going to want to swim down to it and look around for suspicious gravel, which looks slightly different from normal gravel. Then when you find some, use your brush in it and you'll potentially get one of the 4 sherds, which each has a 6.7% chance of being extracted from suspicious gravel. Moving on to the third group of sherds, here's how to get the Burn, Danger, Friend, Heart, Heartbreak, Howl, and Sheaf pottery sherds. To find these, this time we'll be looking for a trail room, which is a buried structure that works as an archaeological dig site. Now, trail ruins are quite difficult to find because they mainly generate in heavily forested biomes and usually are only found when you stumble across random clumps of terracotta sticking out of the ground. So if you want a neat trick to help you find one, fly low over snowy taigas, as the terracotta stands out pretty well against the snow, making them a little bit easier to find. Then when you do find a trail ruin, you're just going to want to slowly dig around it and look for suspicious gravel, and then use your brush in it. And like before, if you're lucky enough, you'll get this time one of these 7 sherds, which each has a 8.3% chance of being extracted from the suspicious gravel. Then for our fourth group of sherds, here's how to get the Up and Brewer pottery sherds. To find these, you'll need to find a desert well, which generates obviously in desert biomes, but they are extremely rare to find, as they only have a 1 in 1000 chance per chunk to generate in Minecraft Java and a 1 in 500 chance on Bedrock. So your best options are to either fly over a bunch of deserts and eventually hope that you find one, or just use Chunkbase. When you do find a desert well though, you're just going to want to go inside it and look under the water for the 2 suspicious sand blocks. Every desert well only has 2, so when you find them, be very careful using your brush, and you might get one or even perhaps both of these sherds, which each has a 25% chance of being extracted from the suspicious sand. For our 5th group of sherds, here's how to get the Angler, Shelter, and Snort pottery sherds. To find these sherds, we'll be heading back out to sea and looking this time for a warm ocean room, which is an underwater structure made mostly of sandstone that generates on the seafloor within warm biomes. Thankfully, finding warm ocean ruins is as easy as finding cold ocean ruins, as you can just find them by sailing around in a boat while looking at the seafloor. Once you've found one, you're just going to want to swim down to it and then look for any suspicious sand and use your brush on it, and you might get one of the 3 different sherds, which each has a 6.7% chance of being extracted. And finally, here's how to get the Flow, Guster, and Scrape pottery sherds. Now, to find these sherds, unlike the previous 5 groups, you won't be actually needing a brush. Instead, all you'll need to do is find a trial chamber, which is an underground combat challenge arena that is made of mostly copper blocks and tough bricks. Now, finding a trial chamber is a challenge in of itself, as because they're underground structures, you'll likely never find one unless you're mining near one. So the best way to find one is to purchase a Trial Explorer map, which can be sold by cartographer villagers and shows a small section of terrain that contains a chamber. Then when you find one, you'll just need to explore and keep your eye out for the corridor room, which is this 3-story tall room with decorated pots on the bottom and middle floors. Once you find the room, just look for the decorated pots with the sherds you want and break them, and you'll get the sherds. Then you can easily turn them back into decorated pots later by placing them in this diamond formation and a crafting bench, either with other sherds or bricks, and now you should know how to get every single pottery sherd. So if you did find this tutorial useful, please drop it a like, share it with your friends, consider subscribing, and comment if you have any questions or issues. Other than that, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.